Hello, this is Zach from Slugfest Studios, back to give you devlog number 13. So today we'll just be going over spells and stuff. I did a lot of stuff, so you'll see a lot of random hodgepodge in the video, and also I worked on the card type spells. So now you have a activatable spell, and you have like auras and enchantment type spells with charges. We'll go over it, but now all the card types are in the game. You have your pet equipment, merging, and then now spells. As a friendly reminder, make sure to join the Discord. It's in the link below. Wishlist on Steam, search for Bonebound, and subscribe for more content. Let's jump in it. So the first thing that we go over is a lot of the stuff. This is anywhere from UI, UX, layout positioning, maybe adding new image, bug fixing. It's a whole array of different things. This first thing that I am going to show you though is the turn compass. So the icons, they were like drifting off. They were doing some weird stuff. So I went in, I fixed that to where these turn compass icons actually lap on top of each other. So this is a example. So this is if there was three. I added a background to that turn compass. See that little sheet of paper that changes to a banner style. But a lot of stuff that I'm working on, I start to add UI to it. I start to flesh it out and polish it a little bit more as I'm working on things. And that was the first part. And now the next part was further expanding on the abilities. I wanted the abilities to kind of enter a spot on the creature inspection UI and have a decent UI. When you hover over it, it shows it. So now I added just a UI box that actually goes around the default, pretty much the ranking, what it takes to rank them up. And then once you have that correct equipment, pet, spell, or merging, it'll go into that. And now this is just showing that you can actually hover over an ability. It goes in this ability box that's below your stats, and it will pop up another UI over on top of it. It will actually show that Devour ability. And it will do this anytime a ability enters this ability box. It will give you a little preview. You can hover over it, and it will show you what it does. So glass cannon, increased power +2. This, I go over a lot of iterations of this many times. You're going to see this constantly change because it turns into kind of like a button. It drops in kind of a button with the ability on it. Looks a lot better, and I like it a lot more. But that's the second part. And now the second part of this is I actually add that purple text for the trigger or the effect. But I also switched the slot for the card types. So you'll see I have the equipment, pet, spell, merging. I actually centered if it's a single slot. I think it just looks a lot better. It's symmetrical. It's right underneath it. Now, if a creature has two equipment slots or two slots, I can actually activate this to show you right now. This is how it would look, which is kind of the default what it was before. It was that left card always just stays right there. But now I have it where if it's a single card, it actually like evens out. It's symmetrical. It's right in the middle underneath the category for the card. And now if there is two slots, then it actually spaces out. So that was the next part that I just wanted to work on. A lot of UI fixing and placement issues. And this is actually me showing that I actually added some cards to where I'm starting to get into like abilities where they're super specific. Like, for example, you can add to these skills, and I added to these skills where they have a like your current skill, and then what your base stat of that skill is, what it should be. What I added was this friendly little dog. He comes with charm, so he actually boosts charisma up 1. So now you can see a +1. Your base is 2. This doesn't look right now. It's double calling it. I do fix it later on. But this is just showing you that cards that you equip now, you can actually see where they're kind of coming from and what they're actually boosting. So now like that, and now that's actually a special one where if that has a certain type, it'll actually add health, not just constitution. So now I have all these effects where it's like I can be like increased dexterity, but if it's a select type, maybe it can power up power. Maybe it can add a +1 to a different stat. Like I can add a lot of ifs to these cards now, and I can make them very specific, which I think is actually pretty cool because it creates a lot of synergy. And as you can see, the abilities, they fall right into that list, and then you can scroll over them to see what they do. So it's just one a little bit better of a UX here. And with that addition, now I can work on the spell cards. So there's going to be two different types of spells. This Aura of Wind is a attachable. This Fireball in my hand is a expendable. So you have attachables and expendables. That's the two types of spells in the game. If it's an attachable, it comes with charge slots, which are shown on the left side of the card. These charge slots count down at the end of a turn if the creature is on the battlefield. So that's the only time that it will lose charges. So if you think about it, this has 5 charges on it. You get 5 end of turns with this card while it's on the battlefield. So you get to benefit from this ability for 5 turns. And then after the 5 turns, it's destroyed. So it actually removes it from this creature and it goes into a destroyed pile. Oh, and yeah, I expanded on the ability list a little bit. I made it yellow text and I just hyphenated it. So now this ability can add to certain stipulations where if this creature is a caster, which it is, it gains an additional, I think it's speed there. So now you can summon this creature. And yeah, he gets a +1 speed from that Aura of the Wind because he is a caster, but he also gains the dexterity +1. So now I'm creating a lot of these different types of cards where it's like, if it's a caster, if it's a warden, if it's a guardian, if it's a certain type of class, if it's a certain type of species, you'll maybe get a bonus ability stat. And the charges are kind of nice. So it's like, you'll lose a charge on a spell and it'll be destroyed, sure. But a lot of the cards, a lot of different creature cards might create these auras. They might add these auras to your deck, to your hand, so then you can put them on. So you're always kind of just splashing these spells on to make your creature as strong as possible. Once they lose all their charges, it gets destroyed, and then the cycle repeats. And as you can see, so a turn, end of turn is done, and it lost 1 charge from the top. So now this has 4 more charges left. So 4 more end of turns that this creature can benefit from this spell card. Now, what you can do is you can actually remove this Aura of the Wind. Let's say you don't want to, the creature's about to die, you don't want to lose charges on this really good spell. You can actually remove it for a mana fee, and then keep it in your hand, and it won't lose charges. And this create like a lot of mechanics to where, okay, maybe I want to keep this aura, maybe I don't. I just think it's nice. It's something you always have a disposable. They're kind of like disposable cards. And now the next card, spell card to go over is the expendable type. So expendables are spells that the player cast. But before then, so I actually added stats. So I added base stat to the creature as well. So now you know where stats are coming from. The screen's going to look a lot different. And that's what I mean with the ability. I had it as like a little button where it pops in that wind magic. And I actually corrected this box because it was doing some weird things where the text wasn't fully in it. Now you can scroll over the ability and it will actually show decent. And it'll just keep stacking these buttons. I do have to fix the layout for the stats. But right now you can kind of see where your stats are coming from. You can see +1s, -1s, wherever you're getting those. So that was another thing that I was working on. But back to the expendable spells. So this fireball is an expendable. These are actually spells that the player casts themselves to either deal damage, to heal a creature, to root a creature. It's a whole variety of different spells that I want. And the player actually has control over these spells. These spells have a range limit. So the spells you drop on your castle to arm them. So in this instance, I have these really good cards here, small AoE and large AoE. These little testing cards. So small AoE, I actually have root linked to it. So I have it where it can root a creature. And this is actually a 2x2 spell. So your range, it will tell your range on your spell, how far away from your castle can you cast this spell to activate its effect. And it does it in a low 2x2 tile. So this is considered a small AoE. And you have it where you can do it on that right text, and it has it where, or on the right tile, and you have an overflow. So maybe you don't want to target your middle creature, but you want to target the right side. You can do that. And then the flip just turns that 2x2 box. It will put it on the other side. So now you can avoid that middle lane if you want, but you can hit that left side of the lane still. So now 2x2 is the only one that needs this flip option. There's single target, which targets one tile, 2x2, which targets 2x2, and a large AoE, which will do a 3x3. So it's actually a pretty big spot. And that root spell, so I actually cast that root on my creature. And now what this does is it makes my creature's speed 0 for the end of turn. So it can actually halt creatures. So you can actually keep a creature in place. And this is nice because I'm going to have like freeze spells that do this, a bunch of different spells. So you can either, like, if the enemy's pushing too hard, you can slow them down. You can make their speed 0. If you don't want your creature to go on like a tile that might be on fire or something, maybe you can slow down your creature. So that's one of the points of that root. And it's kind of nice because you can either have like an AoE, you can do this big AoE that roots just all these creatures in place, and it kind of just stops time, you know? And now I will show that root is only for one turn. So you might get a root for 1 turn duration, 2 turn duration, but that root spell was only for whenever that creature was called to move, it will make it speed 0, and then it will remove that root. So now that turns over, so now my creature can move again because it has speed of 2. And that's just one of like the signature abilities that creatures might have. Like I create a treant that actually has that root spell attached to him. And now this is the large AoE. So this is a 3x3 tile. And I made the range 4. So you can actually hit the boss lane too with a lot of these, which is really nice. So if the boss lane is pushing too much, you can even do it on there. But it has it where any overflow on the other side, like you can avoid the right side, but you always have to hit that middle lane if you put it on the far left side or if you put it on the right side. That large AoE was actually a heal, but my creature's at full health. So a heal is in the game. And then this is the single target fireball. So this is what I mean. Like you can drop this fireball in the boss lane anywhere, and it's kind of cool because you can even drop it in the fog, and the player has vision, so the player can see a creature when your creature can see a creature, usually 2 tiles away. But you can drop a random fireball through the fog and hope that you snag a kill. Like that's the option. But as you can see right there, so it actually does damage. I actually killed my own creature. Sorry, Elf. But now I actually have something to keep track of player kills as well. So now I can keep track of destroyed spells, and I can keep track of player spell kills. So now I can link this to like other creatures. If the player has 5 player spell kills, maybe it gets a +1 and a different stat. So now it kind of creates a synergy where you're playing a spellcaster themed type deck. So a lot of the stuff I want to keep track. Like I want to, if something happens, I want to keep track of it, and then maybe I can use that in a different situation. And that is it for the spell system. Now to move on to something else. So achievements, not necessary, but really wanted to work on them. So one of the things that I wanted to work on was achievements. I have it where achievements go in the top left of the creature inspection, but there's a multiple amount of achievements that a creature can acquire. And this is where you really start to get attached to your creature because it starts to keep track of your achievements. So I put an achievement in the game, which is called First Blood. It's whenever their creature gets 1 kill, they get this achievement. So now it does, anytime an achievement pops up, it will do that achievement banner that pops up in the left side. Just, it's like an extra little, hey, you got an achievement, take a look at your creature. So now that will actually fill in. And then it was It'll say the achievement name, and then defeat your first enemy in combat. Condition kills 1. You had 1. And rewards plus 1 XP, 1 unlocked token. So now I'm starting to work towards those unlocked tokens, which these are ways to customize your deck. You can buy new deck backings. You can buy different themed castles. You can buy different little wisp that go around your card. You can actually buy different cards to start with for the game if you unlock them. In this instance, it gives a title as well. So maybe you can get a special title from a special achievement. And there's going to be a whole array of achievements that are linked to creatures. And it's kind of nice because these are the one thing that gives you the unlock token, which creates the roguelike of the game. But that is it for spells and stuff. Hope you enjoyed it. And I know it is kind of funny because my last video was, weekly devlogs. There'd probably be 6 to 8 minutes. And look at this video, 2-week duration, and it's a longer video. So I will probably be shooting for a 2-week duration. Gives me more time to code. It's either you work on the business or you work on the product, and I want to work on the product just a little bit more. As a friendly reminder, make sure to join the Discord, wishlist on Steam, search for Bonebound, and subscribe for more content. And always remember, if you cast a spell, cast responsibly. Your deck will thank you later. Thanks for watching.